It's time we kick it in gear by asking the first question: is our religion a saving faith? If by okay, I hear some lovers out there. If by saving you mean that salvation occurs when saying magic words, then nope, we're not a saving faith. If by saving you mean that we use theology as a spiritual commodity to grant supernatural exemptions in exchange for material tithing, then nope, we're not a saving faith. If by saving you mean that our theology permits us to exile family members, to persecute our neighbors, to deny civil rights, to justify violence, then nope, we are not a saving faith. Our progressive religion is not concerned with irrelevant questions about insubstantial creeds. Why? Because we do not have time. We do not have time to pontificate about nonsensical inquiries, not because the alleged rapture is near. It's because we cannot tolerate any more acts of exclusion, oppression, violence, or fear. Yeah. So, are we a people who long to be saved? Hell yeah, we want to be saved. Save us, we cry. Save us from beliefs that suppress. Save us from theologies that don't make any sense. Save us from religions that coerce. Save us from the rabbit hole of woo. You know, that woo-woo that leads us into a phantasmagorical wonderland of theological despair. Save us from speculations about that which we do not know. Save us from being lured by fantastical thinking about heaven or hell. Save us from whimsical illusions that distract us from the fact that we, as interdependent and limited beings, have the power to create hell or heaven here on earth. The choice is ours. Save us from the hell we create for one another right here, right now. In this way, yes, absolutely. Our progressive religious tradition is a saving faith, and it can be even more so if we stop giving new answers to old questions. We are saved when we stop asking, do you believe in God? This is a divisive and politicized question that immediately labels and pits one people against another. You, over there, do you believe in God? Yes. Okay, fine. Interesting. Thank you. You, over there, do you don't believe in God? Oh, okay, no. Fascinating. Interesting. Thank you. That should be the extent of the conversation. Because if it goes any further, you all know what happens. What do you mean you don't believe in God? What do you mean you believe in God? And we go down the road of oblivion when we fail to ask the real question at hand, and that is, you, how will you two relate with one another? Where's the love? Where's the love? How will you and you relate to this beautiful ecosystem that we call home? For you, my friend the theist, the question is not who is worthy of God's love. If you believe in God, leave it to God. The question you should concern yourself with is this: who is worthy of your love? Who is worthy of your attention? Who is worthy of your care? Will you continue to abandon and exile and punish all those who believe different than you? Even your own family members? How will you use the power of faith to liberate us from the hell we make for one another right here, right now? And you, my dear friend, the atheist, the question is not, why do people believe in God? If you don't believe, that's fine. The question you should concern yourself with is this: we know what you are against, but what are you for? Who is worthy of your love? Who is worthy of your attention? Who is worthy of your care? Will you continue to abandon and exile and punish all those who believe differently than you, even your own family members? How will you use the power of conscience, the power of reason, to liberate us from the hell we make for one another right here, right now. I am becoming increasingly impatient, as you could probably tell. I am becoming increasingly impatient to the same old questions that are dominating our collective consciousness. The question is not, do we need religion? I might just yawn myself to death. The real question is obvious. Is your religion a country club? No. I am worried. Is our religion internally focused and preoccupied with matters that are inherently irrelevant? Where's my coffee? And why are those curtains crooked? And can you believe he wore that? And do you know what she said that he said that she said that he said he would do but didn't do? And where's my Splenda? Preoccupations with idle chatter is a kind of self-poisoning. I think we should excommunicate such petty banter. I think we should teach ourselves how to get out of our committees and get into the streets. For years, country clubs, I'm serious, for years country club religions have taught me to talk nice and smile pretty. This became a very effective muzzle to silence this preacher man, but today's a new day. And this preacher man has arrived not to ask what happens when we die, but to ask what happens when we kill. Is it too early in the morning to call for a truly challenging and progressive faith to ask us, why do we hire people to kill for us so that we can chew on flesh 3 times a day? Come on, people. If you like it, great. If not, stop. Come on. Let's wake this place up. I'm tired of the Sunday sleepers. We have to wrestle with questions that matter. What moral and ethical or even theological beliefs do we uphold when we cut into the flesh of another living being? I want to know, what ethics do we uphold when we hire somebody to kill for our holiday dinner parties? I started asking these moral questions not because religion taught me to be moral, but because my anti-religious relatives fed me our pet cow. I thought it was great we named him McKinley. I was learning presidents at the time. I was only 8. Little did I know it was a joke to feed me Big Mac. How is it that the least religious among us continue to buy into the dominant theological worldview that all of this was made for our consumption? How is it that those with secular beliefs fall into the same trap that country club religions are imprisoned by today? It's the prison that says, it's okay. It doesn't matter what you believe. I'm okay. You're okay. We're all okay. Pass me the A1 sauce. It makes it taste better. Ooh, he shoots and he scores and the agitated crowd cries, don't mess with my A1 sauce. Listen, I did not come here today to make you feel good. I came here to make you feel alive. So if you're angry, then stomp. If you're humored, then cheer. And for the record, A1 sauce tastes just the same as when it's on tofurkey. So, listen, a truly progressive religion, a truly progressive religion will save us from participating in systems of oppression and violence. A truly redemptive faith will save us from complacency. It will save us from believing that talking nice and smiling pretty is somehow salvific. True deliverance will come when we are saved from cultural misappropriation. You know the line, well, the Native Americans killed animals. Right. And just as the settlers systematically killed Native Americans, we subsidize 3 times a day the conquesting systems that profit from suffering. He shoots, he scores, and the offended are about to walk out the door as they say, I wanted to be coddled today by some old-time religion. Well, sorry kids, not today. Today is time to speak truth to power, and you are powerful with your fork every single day. Will you have peace on your plate? Do you think it was easy for William Furness to preach an abolitionist message while he had armed guards at his sides? His sermons evoked all kinds of difficult feelings in people. So let's engage in the difficult feelings we are feeling today and reflect upon this trend. Liberal religion has evolved into a tradition that says, don't judge me, I'm okay. We can do and say and believe whatever we want. Let's just talk pretty and look nice. That's how we'll get more people. As a result, our so-called liberal religion is not yet liberating us from becoming what we set out against. Rather, it leads us further into despair by permitting this simple act. And are you ready for this? Moral relativism. There is a way out of hell. The hell that says that killing is okay. But the chicken was free range, we say. No, that is moral relativism. And it's time we live with some moral conviction. If you're going to subsidize violence, at least be intellectually honest. Call it what it is. If you're going to continue to eat meat. What an interesting term. If you're going to continue to eat animals based on the tradition argument that we've always done it that way, or the biological argument that humans are designed that way, or the theological argument that Mother Earth provides solely for us, then know that you're doing the same thing that old-time religion does when justifying oppression and violence. We are told that tradition says God made Adam and Eve to procreate. And God gave us dominion over the earth. That tradition has long told us that women were lesser creatures to men and that the earth was made for human dominion. The biological argument says that women were made for procreating, just like whites were made to be a superior race, right? Just like humans were genetically made to eat the tender flesh of a young calf, right? It is time we stop plummeting down the rabbit hole that leads us to believe that traditional answers are right and new questions are wrong. If we really want to build a prophetic, progressive faith, then we must be the ethical agenda setters of our time. We cannot solely base our public actions on the reactions to conservative agendas. We need to rise up and make a bold and clear stance that religious oppression, religious exclusion, and religious violence are illegitimate. Period. Illegitimate. The religious worldview that says all of this was made for our creation leads us to the creation of hell right here, right now. If we really want to be a part of a liberating, saving community, then we must become a sanctioned, recognized, organized force that will make fundamentalists fall to their knees and repent because they finally get it. The fundamental commitment to preserve the inherent worth and dignity of every being. Every being. It is time we claim our power and courageously and publicly ask questions that we have been too afraid or too polite to ask. New answers to old questions will not save us. There is no time to be spinning around ourselves saying, we're so small, our membership numbers are staying the same. No kidding. No one wants to be a part of a country club religion. We do not want to go to another aggressive committee meeting about who is to blame for the shortage of Splenda. Kill me, kill me, kill me. We want to get out of the committee, and we want to get into the streets. We want to be a part of a progressive, visionary path that liberates future generations from the theological labyrinth of despair. We want sermons that will wake us up, that will challenge us, that won't put us to sleep for God's sake. We want to wrestle with the moral issues of our time. We need not ask what happens when we die, because no one really knows. The real question is, what happens when we stop living? The stoicism that we face on a daily basis is an illness. Look at it. Diagnosis. It is a symptom of a duly dulled life. Our lives are hypnotized by the monotonous commutes, multiplied by the flickering fluorescent light that falls upon the micromanaging boss who thinks everything you do in your cubicle is an extension of his power. Who here is dying a slow and numbing death? There has to be a time, and I think the time is now, to stop being lulled by the monotony. There is no time to be blaming other people for our own feelings. If you don't like it, change it. There's no time for crying or complaining or gossiping or clinging to that fashionable grudge bag. No. It is time that we awake, rise up, and carry ourselves into a day worth living. Yes. Let us live one day, this day, with passion and a sense of collective synergy. Let us live one day, this day, by asking questions that really challenge us and make us feel alive. For God's sake, save us from being lulled by complacent theology. For Darwin's sake, save us from being lulled by calcified morality. Let's flip it. Let's flip it all. The disengagement, the self-preoccupations. As Mark Bellatini reminds us, let's set it all down, you and me. The disappointments, little and large, the frustrations, let's open our fists and drop them. The useless waiting, the obsessions with what we cannot have, the focus on foolish things, the pin-wielding worry that just wears us out, the fretting, let's throw them down. The comparisons of ourselves with others, the competition, as if domination was the best name we could give God, the cynical assumptions, the unspoken, shelved anger. Let's toss them. The inarticulate suspicions, the self-doubt, the preemptive self-dumping, the numbing doubts of self-pity. Let's sink them all like stones in the pool of this gift of silence. Let's drop them like hot rocks into the cool silence. And when they're gone, let's lay back gently and float. Let's float on the calm surface of the silence. Let's be supported in the still cradle of the world, newborn, ready for anything. Our world can be made new. Our world can be saved time and time again if, out of this silence, we have the courage to go out into the streets and into our hearts and ask new questions. And in doing so, we, as interdependent and limited beings, take up the challenge to create either heaven or hell on earth here, now. The choice is ours. Amen.